Samurai. A member of a powerful military caste in feudal Japan, especially a member of the class of military retainers of the daimyos. Or as most people know them, cool Japanese dudes with swords. Samurai are objectively the coolest historical archetype. Sure, others like knights or Vikings can be interesting, but none seem to scratch the itch quite like samurai do. Movies, literature, video games, TV shows, Western cartoons, anime, manga, Western comics. No matter what form of media you can think of, you better believe that samurai are present within this space. And, in many cases, they are responsible for some of the best pieces of media of all time. Manga. Almost everybody who has ever claimed to like manga has heard of or at least seen this man's work. This man's name is Takahiko Inoue, the creator behind one of the most highly regarded manga of all time, Vagabond. Now, if you somehow haven't heard of it yet, Vagabond is a story all about the life of Miyamoto Musashi. It follows him on his journey of self-discovery as he aims to become invincible under the sun, or unrivaled under the heavens, depending on what translation you are reading. Musashi's pilgrimage eventually leads him away from the arrogant and violent natures of his past as he later strives to find the meaning of true strength. With Vagabond, Takahiko Inoue was able to create one of the most beloved mangas of all time. Inoue has of course had other successful stories published like Slam Dunk and Real, but for many, Vagabond seems to take the cake for his best work. Now, I have to come clean. I myself have not personally finished the manga yet. Yes, I know. Saying that is pretty much blasphemy to a bunch of manga readers. But even as someone who has not finished the entire story yet, I'm able to tell you that Vagabond is one of the most beautiful pieces of samurai media of all time. The writing and actual story behind Vagabond is without a doubt very good, and it is even commonly referred to as one of the big three of seinen. This alone speaks to its quality, as the other members of the big three, Berserk and Vinland Saga, are widely accepted as two of the best manga of all time. This being said, the heart and soul of Vagabond really comes from Inoue's art. Inoue's style goes far beyond the usual cartoony and stylized art styles of the manga industry to create breathtaking imagery on every page. Inoue uses his gorgeous backgrounds and life-filled characters to convey emotion and storytelling on a level other manga artists could never even dream of doing. Just by looking into Musashi's eyes in the manga, you can tell the exact emotion he is feeling in the same way you could if a person was standing right in front of you in real life. This is the true beauty behind Inoue's art. His ability to convey human emotion through his art is simply unparalleled in not just the world of manga, but in the world in general. Seriously, I truly believe if you walked into the closest art museum to you, you would struggle to find an artist able to even hold a candle to Inoue's work. What, you still don't believe me? Well, check this out. Takahiko Inoue has created multiple huge hand-painted murals around the world. The most famous example of these works are his murals of Vagabond on the walls of a bookstore in New York called Kinokuniya. I was lucky enough to actually see these in person when I visited New York, and I recommend everybody that has the chance to go see them to go see them. While manga as a form of media is probably one of the biggest industries for samurai, I would argue our next media format is even larger. Movies. While there are quite literally an unquantifiable amount of samurai movies, I simply could not talk about the genre without talking about two men. These two men are Akira Kurosawa and Toshiro Mifune. Akira Kurosawa is the director that inspired your favorite director. I mean seriously, people like George Lucas, Martin Scorsese, and Quentin Tarantino have directly stated that this man is a genius and that they admire him very greatly. Yes, that's right. George Lucas, Martin Scorsese, and Quentin Tarantino. Three of the most recognizable directors in pop culture. I mean, just look at their filmographies. And these three men didn't just say that they liked Kurosawa's work. No. They said it directly inspired them. I mean, Lucas has flat out stated that the only reason he chose to tell Star Wars from the perspective of two lowly characters, R2 and C-3PO, was because he was inspired by Kurosawa's 1958 film, The Hidden Fortress, to do so.
The one thing about Hidden Fortress is it did influence me in doing Star Wars, because as I was beginning to write the screenplay and put it together, I remembered Hidden Fortress, and I remembered the one thing that really struck me about Hidden Fortress and I was really intrigued by was the fact that the story was told from the two lowest characters.
Going further than just inspiration, his movies were so good some directors just straight up plagiarized him. Yes, I am of course talking about Sergio Leone's Fistful of Dollars. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. Sergio Leone blatantly copied Kurosawa's 1961 film Yojimbo. I loved Yojimbo so much when I watched it for the first time. But apparently I did not love it as much as Sergio Leone, since he went so far as to basically recreate half the scenes shot for shot with a cowboy instead of a samurai. This decision landed him in court with Kurosawa and ended up losing him 15% of his movie's global revenue. This settlement also gave Toho, Kurosawa's production company, the rights to distribute Fistful of Dollars all across Asia. In the end, the settlement ended up making Kurosawa more money than the actual original Japanese release of Yojimbo did itself. Another example of Kurosawa's influence comes from the 1962 sequel to Yojimbo called Sanjuro. Anyone that has ever watched any form of media that depicts swords is probably familiar with the trope of massive amounts of blood aggressively shooting out of a person's body after they have been stabbed. The first example of this trope comes from the end of Sanjuro when Sanjuro, played by Toshiro Mifune, kills the rival samurai Hanbei. After being cut by Mifune, blood erupts from Hanbei's chest and history is made. It is widely debated on whether or not this was intentional, as some say the massive blood spurts were caused by a malfunction with a blood pack, but either way, the influence the scene has had on pop culture is undeniable. This imagery has been used thousands of times following Sanjuro, whether it be in movies or other mediums like anime. Akira Kurosawa undebatably has one of the most stacked filmographies of all time. I mean, just look at it. Seven Samurai, a film that single-handedly redefined the modern epic? I'm not sure. Anyway, a historical action drama with some of the most breathtaking shots ever put to film. Yojimbo, a movie that will literally pop up on Google if you search the word masterpiece. Definitely don't fact check me on that. And those are just a few of the many masterworks of Akira Kurosawa. Now, if you actually have seen Kurosawa's movies, you will definitely recognize this man. This is of course Toshiro Mifune. Mifune and Kurosawa made a total of 16 films together, and many consider them to be one of the most significant director-actor pairings in cinema history. Mifune is generally agreed to be one of the best actors of all time among film aficionados, and he even managed to amass over 180 film credits in his lifetime. But still, his most notable works were born from his time with Kurosawa. Obviously, he did not only make movies with Kurosawa. He also starred in many other films such as Hiroshi Inagaki's Samurai Trilogy, where he played yet another iteration of Miyamoto Musashi. This three-part experience pretty much shares the same story as Vagabond, as they were both adapted from Eiji Yoshikawa's novel Musashi. Much like Vagabond, the Samurai Trilogy is beloved by people all over the world, and many even claim that the third movie features the best samurai duel ever put to cinema. Mifune was truly a legendary figure in the world of Japanese film, and he was pretty much the model for how everybody envisions the perfect samurai today. I seriously can't close my eyes and imagine a samurai without seeing this dude's face. Mifune no doubt had success outside of the samurai world as well, but that's not what this video is about, so I'm not talking about it today. I seriously urge anyone that has not seen any of these two men's movies to go and watch them. Yojimbo is currently my favorite, so I think that would be a pretty good place for you to start. I could say so much more about these two men, but then I would not have time for our last form of media. Anime. While manga's format of being written word lends itself better to the philosophical side of samurai, anime as a form of media has the highest threshold for making samurai look cool as hell. Sometimes when watching samurai movies, the lack of ability to portray fast-paced, action-packed scenes can become fully apparent. Some films are able to do it well, but not all. I guess we can't all be Kurosawa. This can often lead to scenes falling flat, and it usually takes me out of the movie. Anime, however, is way more equipped to avoid this problem. Anime being a drawn medium and not a capturing of real life means you can practically do anything you want within it. Crazy choreography, insane stunts, death-defying acts, without the restrictions of real life, anime is capable of depicting things in a way that manga or movies could never even come close to. Is all anime done well? No, of course not. But you could find that in any medium. One example of an anime using its lesser limitations to its fullest extent is Samurai Champloo. Samurai Champloo is honestly just one of the sickest shows ever made. Do you love samurai? Yes. Do you love hip-hop? Yes. Well then I have the show for you. Samurai Champloo is the perfect blend of Edo period Japan and modern hip-hop culture. One of the protagonists' name is Mugen, and his sword-fighting style is derived from the art of breakdancing. Since Samurai Champloo is an anime, they are able to portray Mugen's specific movements in a far more sophisticated manner than if it was a film or a manga. The story follows Mugen, a samurai named Jin, and a waitress named Fu on their quest to find a samurai that smells like sunflowers. On their journey, they come across many characters reminiscent of the modern hip-hop culture of today's world. At one point, Mugen and Jin face off against a gang of warrior priests that communicate and fight through beatboxing and hip-hop. There is also an episode that tells the story of two spray paint-loving brothers that mirrors the graffiti and tag-loving culture of the 90s and 2000s. Samurai Champloo was a breath of fresh air to a genre that certainly has the potential to become stale after the thousands of samurai-themed movies, manga, and anime of the past. Don't get me wrong, I love a good samurai story, but the flawless combination of the samurai genre and the modern world was a very welcome departure from the basic samurai story. Another anime I am told does this great as well is called Afro Samurai. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really speak on it too much, but if it's any consolation, it is Samuel L. Jackson's favorite anime. Granted, he did executive produce the show, voice the main character Afro, and voice Afro's sidekick Ninja, but honestly, to me, that's even more of a plus. I mean, come on, if Samuel L. Jackson had this much hand in the making of the show, it's gotta be good. The animation looks amazing, and the cast of voice actors is pretty stacked. It's got Yuri Lowenthal, it's got Ron Perlman. Lucy Liu even voices the villain in the 2009 movie Afro Samurai Resurrection. So, Afro Samurai is without a doubt near the top of my watch list, and you should definitely check it out as well. Also, please check out Samurai Champloo. You'll be doing yourself a favor. Anime as a genre has plenty of samurai derivative shows and characters, whether it be Ghost Samurai, Superhero Samurai, or Mecha Samurai, but I wanted this video to be focused on actual samurai in the most classic sense of the word, instead of these altered versions. I know Samurai Champloo and Afro Samurai aren't exactly historically accurate, but I feel that they still carry the heart and soul of classic samurai media in a way that some of these other shows lose because of their extravagance. So, really, what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't matter if you prefer anime, movies, manga, or even some other form of media depicting samurai. One thing we can all agree on is, samurai are pretty badass.